to ask for a prayer by Councilman Mark Schreiber, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you for each day. We thank you for the blessings and challenges you have given to us. We give thanks for the citizens of our community who serve unselfishly in so many capacities. And we're thankful for the men and women who serve as employees of our city of Jefferson. Guide and protect each of those and their families. Father, watch over our sons and daughters who serve our country in the armed forces. May the young men and women who are graduating be given your direction and protection as they make life choices. We ask, Father, that you grant us knowledge and wisdom tempered with compassion in the decisions we make in our daily lives. Allow us through you to come together to make our community better for us all. We take a moment to remember Mr. Richard Romer, former member of the City Council, who died recently. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now call the meeting to order of Monday, May 16th, 2016 City Council meeting. Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Branch.
Here.
Costellas.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Hussey. Mahalovich.
Here.
Prather.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Wiseman.
Here. Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And also, before we begin, I want to mention that under item 10, presentations from the gallery, just a reminder that there was a sign-up sheet outside. Our code does require signing up 15 minutes prior, so just want to make sure that everybody had a chance to sign up. Is there anyone here that did not have a chance to? And so if it's pertaining to the agenda, then that's item 10. So what we'll have to do is entertain a motion from the council at that time for the people who didn't sign up, or you can always speak under item 16. So just wanted to clarify that. And also, I wanted to recognize at this time any scouts that are in the audience tonight. I know we have one here, so if you'd like to come up to the podium and give us your name and what school you're from today, we appreciate having scouts here. Welcome.
My name is Keith Dennis, and I attend Thomas Jefferson Middle School, and I am part of Troop 104, and I am here working on my citizenship in the Community Merit Badge.
Wonderful. Good luck, and we're glad to have you here tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Are there any other scouts here this evening? All right. Item 4, miscellaneous agenda items. Item A, mayoral comments in honor of former Councilman Dick Groner, who passed away on Friday, and appreciate the moment of silence. Councilman Schreiber, wanted to mention that Dick Groner was on the City Council. He was sworn in on April 15th, 2002, and he went off the council on April 19th, 2004. So I always remember him being at several meetings and always being very involved in several aspects of the community, and recently ran for mayor, and I got to know him during the campaign, and I really appreciate his energy and the fact that he would run for mayor into his 80s. I thought was impressive, and I hope that someday I would want to run for mayor when I'm in my 80s as well. I was always impressed with him, and I wanted to just give my sympathy to his wife, Joanne Groner, and to his family, and appreciation of his service. Item B, I have a proclamation, Kids to Parks Day. So I will start by reading the proclamation, and if there are those here in the audience this evening, we have some parks folks here if they would like to come to the podium and while I read the proclamation. All right, thank you. Mr. Gates, welcome, and I'll read the proclamation tonight. Whereas the National Kids to Parks Day, organized and launched by the National Park Trust, will be celebrated on May 21st, 2016, and whereas National Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks, and whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks, And whereas we encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesteremia. And whereas National Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and the outdoors, therefore I, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson, do hereby proclaim Saturday, May 21st as National Kids to Parks Day. So congratulations, and would you like to fill us in on some activities?
Well, we don't have anything specific lined up on Saturday. We just wanted to have the proclamation out there to recognize the day and to let folks know that the parks are available and are very important to the community.
Well, we sure appreciate that, and I know that it's very easy to become a friend of the park, so if there are people out here who are not already a friend, how can they join?
Well, they can contact us at the main office at 634-6482 or visit us on our website. Both locations will have information about becoming a friend of the park.
Great, and it's completely free to be a friend.
You bet.
Just
Yes,
get you
it
the
is free,
activities.
and there's lots of perks and benefits if they join.
Great. Well, Mr. Gates, if you'd like to come up, and Mr. Spalding, why don't we get a photograph with your proclamation, and you can share that out there with people. Thank you. All right. Sure. All right. JJ broke the camera. I can do, you want to try mine? It's not quite as good probably as yours. All right, just push that button here. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, thanks for being here. All right. And item C, we have a proclamation for Relay for Life presented to Ashley Hale. So if Ashley would like to come to the podium, and I'll be happy to read the proclamation. Is Ashley here this evening, or anybody on behalf of the Relay for Life? Well, I'll present this anyway, and we will make sure that it gets to the relay. Whereas everyone knows of someone who has had cancer or currently is in treatment for cancer, and whereas the American Cancer Society is a qualified 501c3 tax-exempt organization which raises awareness and funds to aid cancer patients, and whereas one of the annual fundraising events is Relay for Life, and whereas Jefferson City is happy to celebrate its 20th year anniversary for this special event, which will be held on Friday, June 3rd at the Jefferson City Jaycees Fairgrounds. And whereas this event would not be possible if not for the multitude of volunteers who help year-round to make this event the success that it is, now therefore I, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson, do hereby declare June 3rd as Relay for Life Day and urge all citizens to join with me in recognizing our cancer survivors and their caretakers. So just a reminder to participate in the Relay for Life Friday, June 3rd at the fairgrounds. So we'll make sure that the Relay folks get this proclamation. And now item D, if Mr. Kroll would like to go to the podium at this time, we have a presentation for Outstanding Employee Award in May for Larry Heckman.
And I would like to invite Larry to come forward and his immediate supervisor, Mr. Gates. Mr. Heckman, Mr. Gates, come on forward. So congratulations to Larry Heckman, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Mechanic, for receiving the Outstanding Employee Service Award for May 2016. And I'd like to read a few of the comments that were noted in his nomination form. But first, you have somebody here with you want to introduce?
My wife,
And what's her name?
Kelly.
Okay. Mr. Heckman has been an employee of the city for 37.5 years, serving in almost all areas of parks operation and maintenance, with a focus on fleet, equipment maintenance, management, and steel fabrication. Mr. Heckman has a focus on keeping equipment safe and reliable for use by park staff and park patrons. Mr. Heckman's contribution to maintaining essential equipment for the Parks Department contributes significantly to the safety of the city workers and enjoyment of park users and recreational program participants. Mr. Heckman has implemented numerous operational cost-saving improvements for the city, including the complete design and construction of 2 hayride wagons from raw materials, the complete design and fabrication of a portable stage, which is used for numerous events in the city, and numerous repairs of parks vehicles, trailers, parks gates, etc. Mr. Heckman also provides outstanding service to recreation and park employees. Mr. Heckman understands the importance of repairing vehicles and equipment quickly so field staff can continue to complete their work and eliminate any downtime. Mr. Heckman is one of the most consistent, reliable, dependable, diligent, and hardworking employees in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department. Mr. Heckman is willing to tackle any job asked of him and is always willing to provide input to solve problems and provide the best product for parks users. Mr. Heckman truly cares and has great pride in the City of Jefferson park system and wants all park users to be safe and have fun when using their favorite park or facilities. So congratulations and thanks to Larry for all of his hard work.
Thank you, Mr. Heckman. And I'd like to present a city coin, and we'll get a picture with you and Mr. Gates and Mr. Spalding up here. And I just want to say some good words. I know that there's so many people who compliment our parks, and it's because of you and your hard work and your effort that you have done over the 37 and a half years. And it's really incredible what you've given to the parks, and we all appreciate the impact of what you've had on our city park system. So congratulations. All right, congratulations again, Mr. Heckman. And item 5, public hearings. We'll start with item A with the rezoning. And at this time, I will open the first public hearing. So we'll start with Mrs. McMillan giving us a summary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The first bill on the public hearing is rezoning 34.5 acres of land at 1050 South Country Club Drive from C1 Neighborhood Commercial to RS2 Single Family Residential. This particular property was annexed in 2002, and at the time it came into the city, it was designated for commercial use on our comprehensive plan and actually zoned C1 Neighborhood Commercial. And a new owner has come forward and wishes to develop this land as a single-family residential subdivision. So that necessitates a rezoning and a comprehensive plan amendment. So the proposal is to rezone from its current designation as C1 Neighborhood Commercial to RS2 Single Family prior to proceeding with the subdivision platting process. And also, because it was designated as commercial on our comprehensive plan, we're proposing to amend the comprehensive plan to show low-density residential use, and that supports the rezoning. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this application for rezoning at their meeting on April 14th and recommended that it be approved on a vote of 8-0. So this shows the land in conjunction with the zoning that's currently applied. So you'll see it's residential is adjacent to this particular tract. And again, comprehensive plan amendment currently shows it as commercial, so the proposal is to amend the comprehensive plan showing low-density residential, which is compatible with the areas surrounding this tract. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan. Do we have any questions for her? Okay. Well, at this time, we have the public hearing open, so I would ask if there's anybody here to speak in favor.
Madam Mayor, we might want to have Phyllis read the bill.
Oh,
First.
thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Powell?
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, changing, amending, and modifying the zoning map of the zoning code of the City of Jefferson by rezoning 34.5 acres of land addressed as 1050 South Country Club Drive from C1 Neighborhood Commercial to RS2 Single Family Residential, and endorsing an associated comprehensive plan amendment.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Bates?
Madam Mayor, Mike Bates, Central Missouri Professional Services, 2500 East McCarty Street. As Janice said, this was an annexation, a voluntary annexation, I believe she said, in 2002, and concurrently it was zoned C1 with the belief by the owner at that time that it would be easier to downzone it if the need or the use ever changed. Subsequently, Mr. and Mrs. Loggy, Jim and Lisa Loggy, have entered into a contract to purchase the property from the Shepperly family. A representative of the Shepperly family and Mr. and Mrs. Loggy are here tonight, and of course the development then is subject to the rezoning and the comp plan amendment. We've done some very preliminary layouts. We've met with city staff, and we believe this is a very desirable project. If you look at our community, single-family lots are hard to find, and this land really lends itself to residential development. So be happy to answer any questions. We think this is a great opportunity. I will mention that the Loggy family just finished a recent subdivision off of Route C at Veith Drive and South Ridge. I think some of you are familiar with that. It's turned out very nice, and it looks like housing is coming back a bit, and in particular there's just a great shortage of lots in Jefferson City. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bates? Councilman Graham?
Yes, I just have one quick question for you. The growth in the Fourth Ward is certainly great, and the two subdivisions that Mr. Loggy created, one off of Route C and the other one's off of Veith Drive, are certainly great development. So my question is, how many homes will be developed in this area here?
Councilman Graham, on a very preliminary basis, we're estimating between 80 and 90 homes.
Okay.
We are expecting it to be done in phases, at least 2, possibly 3, but we're very optimistic in regard to the demand at this time.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay,
Thank
thank you. And is there anyone else here that would like to speak on Bill 2016-4? Okay, seeing none, I will close this part of the public hearing, and I do want to thank the Loggies and Shepperleys for being here today as well. Thank you. All right, so any further council discussion on the bill? Questions or deliberation? Okay, Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Costello,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schreiber,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Thank you. Bill passes. All right, public hearing 5B. Mrs. Powell?
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving a special exception use permit for construction of a neighborhood center community activity building addressed as 1105 Lafayette Street, described as part of Outlots 26 and 82, and part of vacated Franklin Street right-of-way, Jefferson City, Cole County, Missouri.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have Mrs. McMillan give us the summary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Boys and Girls Club of Jefferson City is replacing their old facility that was located at 727 East Elm, which was acquired by Missouri Department of Transportation as part of the Highway 50 Lafayette Street Interchange Project. This proposed site is on property being transferred to the Boys and Girls Club by Lincoln University and is located adjacent to the new Parks and Recreation Lincoln University Wellness Center and across from Jefferson City High School. Property is zoned single-family residential, split by an RS2 and RS4 zoning line. In our zoning code, community activity buildings are a special exception use in the single-family zoning district. So that's how this application came before the Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting on April 14th. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the special exception use permit that includes a 2-story building with gross floor area of 18,400 square feet, 9,200 square feet per floor. Included will be a fenced playground area, and would share a parking lot with the Recreation and Wellness Center. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. McMillan at this time? Okay, at this time I'll open the public hearing portion and would ask if anyone is here to speak in favor of Bill 2016-5. Please come forward. Welcome.
Madam Mayor, Mike Bates, Central Missouri Professional Services, 2500 East McCarty Street. It's been a long project, and I'll give you just a little bit of background and be very brief. It actually started several years ago and was a sense of urgency was developed because the existing facility that Boys and Girls Club was in was acquired as a part of the interchange for Lafayette Street, Highway 5063. That was a woefully undersized, inadequate facility. It was previously a gas station. During that time, we actually worked with the Boys and Girls Club and did a site selection study trying to stay in the neighborhood near Lincoln University because of its support of staff in running the operation. As that went forward, Dr. Rome came forward and said that he was willing to site the Boys and Girls Club on Lincoln University property. If you will remember, that was going to be at Atchison Court and Atchison Street and adjacent to a student center that Lincoln University was interested in developing. Those plans progressed to the preliminary stage, and subsequently the project, which is now known by some as the University Community Wellness Center, the project was moved from Atchison Court, Atchison Street, to adjoin the site that's being developed now. And if you look at that site, it's a little bit hard to tell on this map, but it actually sits at the northeast corner of the fill that's in place now, so it will actually adjoin the existing facility you see under construction and would be able to utilize on occasion those facilities, so they're very complementary. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I know Tim would like to make a couple of comments too.
Sure. Any questions for Mr. Bates? All right, thank you.
My name is Tim Sigmund. I'm the current board president of the Boys and Girls Club. My address is 305 East McCarty. I'm just here, Mr. Bates gave a good rundown of where we're at and where we're heading. We're asking for this exception so that we can get started as soon as possible on the construction at the site. Obviously, the Wellness Center is already under construction, and we have a target to get our members into the site by the second semester of the school year next year. And so this is the next step in our process, which we hope that you'll approve tonight so that we can get moving forward. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in relation to the site.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Sigmund? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And is there anyone else here that would like to speak on Bill 2016-5? Okay. And I do want to thank you, Mr. Sigmund, for your work on the Boys and Girls Club Board, and also Mr. Vossen, you have a board member with you as well, and we appreciate all of your service to the community. Thank you. So at this time, I'll close the hearing and would ask that we take up Bill 2016-5. Do we have any council further questions or deliberation? All right, hearing none. Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Hussey?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Prather?
Aye.
Schreiber?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Wiseman?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bill passes. Thank you. Item 6, appointments by the mayor. And Mrs. Strope, if you want to give us a summary.
Sure, thank you. We have some reappointments that were recommended. 3 reappointments to the Transportation and Traffic Commission and 3 to the USS Jefferson City Submarine Committee.
Thank you. Any questions on those appointments? All right, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes, and we don't need a roll call even though there's a 2/3 since that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. Item 7, presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. And we have none this evening. Item 8, announcements by the mayor, council, and staff. I will start with my announcements, and just a reminder to check out the calendar at jeffersoncitymo.gov for all of our committee meetings. There's several committee meetings, and there's a calendar that will show you the date and time for all of our committees. Last week, we celebrated Public Service Employee Appreciation Week. We had several activities and events here at City Hall and enjoyed being part of that. And I just want to take this time to show my appreciation again for all of our public service employees at the city. Appreciate all that they do. Also want to mention that tomorrow is the Zonta Women of Achievement Luncheon. They have an annual Yellow Rose Luncheon where they honor about a dozen ladies in the community, and I'm very honored to be one of the ladies that's going to be honored for the Yellow Rose Luncheon. And in addition, we have Councilwoman Laura Ward is one of the honorees along with me, and also Julie Prather, who's Councilman Rick Prather's wife. So wanted to recognize them and appreciate being among these wonderful women in the community. Also, want to give a recognition for all of the graduates. There were a lot of graduations here locally over the weekend. I know Lincoln University held theirs over the weekend, and I was at my alma mater, Missouri State, for their commencement exercises there. And I know that there's also Jefferson City High School, I believe some of the other local high schools as well. So we had a lot of graduations, but I want to thank and congratulate all of the grads and all of their families. We also had a visit from the USS Jefferson City submarine crew here last week. They had a very packed day. They were just here for one day last Tuesday. They started by visiting some schools and got to visit with some school children. They went to lunch at Bones. They also had a tour of the governor's mansion, followed by a visit to the state capitol. And Senator Kehoe was kind enough to have them on the Senate floor. They received a standing ovation and picture taken there, and also went on the House floor and were recognized as well, and had a tour of the Capitol. And that dinner, that evening, they went to American Legion for dinner. And we also took them to Central Dairy. That would not be complete, a trip to Jefferson City, without going there. But we had a great visit. We're honored to have the sailors here from our namesake USS Jefferson City submarine. It was quite an honor to spend time, and the people in the community that saw them, I think everywhere we went, they were met by a round of applause by everybody. So that was exciting. And also, Saturday was the annual Corvette Classic, and Councilman Branch was in attendance at that event. And I did get to present the Mayor's Cup trophy. I thought maybe that meant I could kind of keep the car, or at least get around, go around the block, and I didn't. But there were some beautiful cars there around the Capitol. And the weekend before, we also hosted in Jefferson City the Shelby Fest. And speaking of beautiful vehicles, they came from all over the country. So it's always neat to see our state capitol held as a backdrop for some of these great events. So those are my announcements, and are there any committee announcements at this time? And item B and C, Mrs. McMillan, if you would, yes.
I will mention Public Works will meet this Thursday. Was it 7:30, Matt? 7:30 here in the conference room across from the chambers, so we'll see everyone on Thursday.
Great. And then also, Councilman Graham, I believe you
Yes.
have an announcement too.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. On this Friday morning, starting at 6:30, May 20th, the Jefferson City Host Lions Club will be hosting their 55th annual Dusty Deskin Memorial Peanut Day Sale. So if you see someone in a yellow vest, we'll be selling the peanuts. So, Mr. Henry, I know that you work uptown, so please do not try to drive all the way around to get to your job, because we will be at 13 locations, so we have one to serve you. So we will be out in force. So once again, the Jeff City Host Lions Club will be hosting and selling our peanuts during our Peanut Day sale. Also, if you're not doing anything on Wednesday morning at 9:30 at McClung Park, we will be sacking up thousands of pounds of peanuts that day for sale. So once again, that is Wednesday morning at 9:30 at McClung Park. So council members and mayor, directors, whoever, city administrator, please come out and help us sack the peanuts so that we can, all the funds that we raise goes back to the community 100%. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Graham, and to all the Lions. Appreciate it. And Mrs. McMillan, you have item B, C, and C there, if you'd like to announce those.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. in the council chambers, we'll celebrate Heritage Week. So anyone who wants to discover the heritage of Jefferson City is certainly welcome to attend. There will be awards for art, multimedia, and an essay contest, landmark designation awards. The properties that were awarded landmarks will receive their plaques, and Gregory Stockard Distinguished Service Award. So that's tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. in the council chamber.
Great. And then item C, the Campo.
The Capital Area MPO is hosting an open house in support of their pedestrian and bicycle plan, and that's on Wednesday, May 25th, next week, from 3 to 6 p.m. in the Boone Bancroft Room, which is the conference room across the hall from the council chamber. And we're inviting everyone to drop by to provide input on the development of the plan and learn more about benefits of a pedestrian and bicycle-friendly community.
Thank you. And item D, the cemetery walking tour. Councilman Schreiber, if you'd like to announce that.
Yes, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, June the 4th, from 11 to 4 o'clock, there will be a historic walking tour of the Woodland Old City Cemetery on East Bacardi Street. And the Old City Cemetery is the oldest corporate, or the oldest burial ground within the corporate city limits of the city of Jefferson. At 11 a.m., there will be a monument dedication to honor Carrie Crittenden, who was the daughter of Governor Crittenden. She died and was the only child to die in the executive mansion. She died of diphtheria in 1873, or she was born in 1873 rather, and died in 1882 in the mansion. This is hosted by the City of Jefferson Cemetery Resources Board. They've worked very hard. They did tours several years ago, but it's been several years since this has occurred. And also with the docents, Friends of the Governor's Mansion docents will be there as well. And I want to thank Ms. McMillan and her staff for all the support and help that they've given. And if you haven't been up there to that location, they've done a really great job in trying to get some of the things restored. And it is very, very historical with two governors being there and a number of other individuals. So come if you can. Bring other family members, bring young people, because the people that are there were people that at one time sat in positions that we perhaps are in now, and they served the city of Jefferson quite well. So we'll be glad to have everybody, and that's from 11 to 4 on Saturday, June the 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Schreiber, and that is a great partnership between the City of Jefferson and the Friends of the Governor's Mansion. And Mrs. McMillan, did you have one more announcement? Or I'll start with Councilman Mihalovich.
I see where it says donations accepted. Can you write a check for that?
Yes, you can. The event is free. It's a free event. However, if anyone wants to make a donation, I actually have some forms, and they can make a donation, and that any donations made will go into the restoration of the cemetery. But it is a free event.
Okay,
Thank you. Mrs. McMillan?
Thank you. I have a couple of other community events that you might be interested in. Tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 7 p.m., the Capital Region Medical Center and H3 Studio, their planning consultants, is hosting a community and neighborhood open house to talk about revitalization of the South Side Old Munichburg area. And that will be held in the ballroom of the Scruggs University Center, and that's from 4 to 7 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Light refreshments will be served, if you're interested in that. On Saturday, June 4th, there's a tire, electronic, and household hazardous waste collection at the University of Missouri Hearns Center Parking Lot N, and it's available for all residents of Jefferson City and Cole County to participate. Some information about that is on our website if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan. Any further announcements today? Okay. Item 9, the Lincoln University student update. And Jonathan is not here this evening, but I did mention graduation. And Councilman Graham, I know there were several councilmen that were able to attend some different functions over the weekend. Do you have anything you'd like to report?
No, of council members of Costales and Branch and Hussey certainly attended the event of last week at the President's residence. We were able to actually host the first event in the President's new mansion. So it was really nice.
Great. And I heard there was some singing that evening. Mrs. Holiday, I believe.
Yes,
was
Miss
in
Jennifer
attendance.
Holliday, who starred in the movie Dreamgirls, was there, and certainly she did an awesome job singing, so
Well, sounds like an exciting time.
it was.
Thank you. Item 10, presentations from the gallery on specific bills. Okay. So there were none signed up at this time, so we will move on to item 11, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 12, bills introduced, 2016-8. Mrs. Powell?
An ordinance amending Chapter 7, Section 7-700 of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by increasing membership on the Cemetery Resources Board.
Thank you, Mrs. McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a simple and straightforward amendment to Section 7-700. Would increase the number of members on the Cemetery Resources Board from 5 to 7.
Thank you. Any council questions? Thank you. 2016-9.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with FurCon Construction Company in the amount of $210,772 for the Jefferson City Wayfinding Project.
Thank you, Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As the clerk indicated, this is a construction contract with FurCon, a local company here in town, for our wayfinding project. The main focus of this is obviously kind of our downtown core area and our greenway connections. It's a grant project. The majority of it's paid by a grant. The total project cost for the construction contract is just over $210,000. And we've had numerous public meetings about the project and gathered a lot of input. I think we've got some more recent input, and I will touch on a couple of the items. There were some questions about the coloring and things of that nature. And this project started with Campo, that where we had a consultant kind of look at these type projects for the city and the surrounding area, actually. And they gave us a lot of advice on style of sign, the emblem, if you will, what should be on the sign, and even a color palette, and so that all the signs will match one another, for example. And then there's many rules for what these signs can say. No individual business, things of that nature. And so as you step down, there's a little bit different rules for the signs as well. So comporting with all those rules, we like I said, we've had an extensive public involvement process on this project, and we think we arrived at a good result. But be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councilman Prather.
Is there anywhere that lists where these signs are going to be placed and what's going to be said on these signs?
The plans and specifications, that's not in the packet, but we have it on file.
Right. I guess if we're going to vote on something, would it be good for us to have a copy of what we're voting on? If it's specifics anyway.
Well, it's quite extensive now. It's kind of like a construction contract. We don't normally put those in the packet, but we're available to view. We can also get it out to you.
Could you please send it out to us, just so we can see, what signs are, where these signs are at and what they're saying?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Councilman Hussey?
Well, just for clarity's sake, is the approval of the contract really approving the specific location of the signs and the messaging on the signs, or is it almost approving so many of these types of signs and the proper tools to install and the labor to do so? I guess I'm just want to make sure, are these two separate actions that we're taking?
Well, it's kind of both. Obviously, during the process of any project, we'll make minor modifications, but generally the signs are represented where they're going to be, the size, that type thing. The final wording has yet to, until we order the sign, the final wording can be tweaked a little bit. We'll go back through a process of shop drawings, if you will, once the contract's approved, and make sure we have the exact thing on the sign that needs to be on there. So it's a little of both. Probably with a sign project or construction contract, probably a little more straightforward, where we might get a little more comment than we normally would, like on, say, a roundabout project that's, 15 times the cost of this, but has a lot more detail to it. So,
Councilman Hussey?
Well, and I guess I would just, and I know we received some emails with some thoughts about particular signs and districts and stuff, and so I guess it would be good either through this process or going forward where final authority rests in terms of installation of signage. I mean, because I don't want to get us bogged down with details about it. It should be a 38-point font, not a 42-point font, and it should be, those sorts of things. I guess I just want to be clear, like, who has ultimate decision-making authority to make these sorts of things, because I hate for that to bog down the council and become something that we're having to deal with. I would much prefer, I guess, staff to have some authority in some of these decision-making, and we authorize the purchase and plan, and then going forward,
right,
staff
and
can do those
typically
things.
that's how it does work.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the fonts and all those kind of things are based on the specs that we were given by MoDOT and even Campo to some degree.
Yeah.
Now,
But
minor tweaks can happen. Now, like I said, we've had extensive public involvement process, so anytime we change one thing, we might have a different group that really liked it this way, and so, you're competing with those interests. So the staff's job and our consultant's job is kind of balance all those comments and not lose sight of the whole overall project goal. And so certainly the council can change any of our decisions, but
you understand where I'm headed.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely
All
so,
right,
sir.
thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Okay. Item 2016-10.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending the 2015-2016 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by changing the personnel schedule within the Department of Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Marash.
Yeah, and this change is, thank you, and this change is focused on our wastewater division in Public Works, but we had discussed it with admin and they recommended it for the council's approval. But there's two basic changes. One is modifying an administrative person in Public Works to a laboratory and pretreatment supervisor. And then the other change is modifying a title within the lab area as well to a environmental specialist. Real goal, we've had some recent inspection by DNR about our pretreatment program, and they'd like to see some changes with that. So this is kind of a positive response to that. And then also let us have a little more emphasis on some of our, not only pretreatment, our grease inspections and things of that nature, and future water quality testing. So that's the reason for the change. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. 2016-11.
An ordinance approving a plan for an industrial development project for the benefit of Modern Lithoprint Company, a Missouri corporation, consisting of the acquisition and installation of an offset press and other equipment at the company's existing facility located in the city, authorizing the City of Jefferson, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Modern Lithoprint Company Project, Series 2016, in a principal amount not to exceed $8 million to pay the costs of the project, authorizing and approving certain documents, and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds.
Thank you. Mr. Helper?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That title kind of says everything. This is a part two of what we started last meeting, which was we started the process with a resolution in it, and then this ordinance will finalize that and then authorize the sale of the bonds. As stated in the title, the bonds will be used to purchase some equipment that will, and in exchange for that, the Modern Litho will hire at least 50 people within 5 years, and it also opens up some additional business opportunities, so we're hopeful that even more than that will come in the future. As with all of our IRB bonds, so far anyway, the business itself will purchase those bonds, and then the rent payment, the pilots, which is payment in lieu of taxes, will be paid from the rent payments. This is a partial abatement, so it's not 100% personal property, and that was the agreement structured between the chamber and the business. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. 2016-12.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a contract with the Austin Peters Group Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $38,890 for a compensation and classification plan review.
Mr. Kroll?
Thank you. This will authorize an agreement with the Austin Peters Group to conduct a classification and compensation plan review. We've kept you updated throughout the process on different aspects of the process as it was going along. We did receive 4 proposals. Employee group and the department directors and some council people had an opportunity to review 2 of the final proposals and recommended the Austin Peters Group, and I concur with that recommendation. Also want to thank Human Resources Director for all of Strope for all of her work and her staff's work and keeping this process moving and getting all the paperwork and things to work. I am open for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Kroll? And we have a request to, thank you. Councilman Costales?
Yes, since this has been a long process, started like last September, can we expedite this and get a 3rd reading tonight so we can get this thing moving?
At this time, we could ask to...
So I move that we suspend the rules and have a 3rd reading this evening.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion to suspend the rules?
On the suspension, it's just if you have 2 objections, it's not suspended, otherwise it is.
Okay. So at this time, the rules are suspended and we can entertain 3rd reading. Mrs. Powell?
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a contract with the Austin Peters Group Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $38,890 for a compensation and classification plan review.
Thank you. Any further deliberations? All right. Roll call, please.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Costalis.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-13.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission to construct a portion of the Frog Hollow Greenway Trail, Phase 2, under Highway 179.
Thank you. Mr. Spalding?
Thank you. This is, the MHTC is requiring that the city enact an ordinance for this agreement, to authorize this agreement. The Park Commission has authorized the funding for this, and it meets with our Greenway plan, and so we're ready to move forward.
Great. Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you. Item 13, bills pending. We've already taken up 2016-4 and 5, so at this time we have 2016-6.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri vacating and discontinuing a 47.02-foot wide strip of the sanitary sewer component of an existing sanitary sewer and stormwater easement in lots 19 and 20 of Heritage Hollow Subdivision, Section 1.
Thank you. Mr. Marash?
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this will vacate a sanitary sewer easement, which is actually located outside the city limits, but we do supply the sewer facilities for these for this subdivision. It's near the Pioneer Trail School, and that width of easement was not required, and so we're agreeable to vacating it.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All right. Roll call, please.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Costalis.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2016-7.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Section 19401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule H, Yield Signs, Subparagraph A of the Code of the City of Jefferson, by the deletion of Sherwood Drive North or south of Fairway Drive, and Schedule G, Stop Intersections, Subparagraph B, Other Specified Intersections, of the Code of the City of Jefferson by the addition of Sherwood Drive before entering Fairway Drive.
Thank you. Mr. Marash?
Thank you. As the clerk indicated, this would change the yield signs at Sherwood and Fairway to stop signs. It was discussed at our Transportation and Traffic Commission, and they recommended this action.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I know we discussed briefly in the pre-meeting to keep an eye on that intersection, the two-way stop, to make sure that that works, and if further stop signs were needed or a four-way, that you would keep an eye on that.
Certainly.
Okay. All right. At this time, roll call, please.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Bill passes. Nothing on the informal calendar. Item 15, resolutions, RS 2016-6.
A resolution adopting the 2016 Title VI program, including Title VI non-discrimination, limited English proficiency, and public involvement plans for Jeff Tran.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the clerk indicated, this would officially adopt our limited English speaking and non-discrimination public involvement policy for Jeff Tran. Plan's good for 3 years, so the last one was adopted in 2013, so this would be the new update. It had some minor revisions. Some of our routes were modified, things of that nature. But basically, it's the same plan, but it is required to be updated by the council or approved by the council every 3 years.
Any questions for Mr. Marash? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion, questions? Mrs. Powell?
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Resolution passes. RS 2016-7.
A resolution authorizing the City of Jefferson to apply for the 2016 Community Policing Development Program grant.
Thank you. Chief Schrader?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution authorizes the Police Department to apply for the 2016 Community Policing Development Program grant, which is offered by the Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services. The purpose is to enhance programs focusing on youth police collaboration, and in keeping with that goal, we intend to assign one officer to the Jefferson City High School as a school resource officer. That would be the second officer assigned for those purposes. The term of the grant is September 1st, 2016 to August 31st, 2018. There's no match required. Unfortunately, due to timing, this did not go before the Public Safety Committee. If the council chooses to not fund or continue funding of that position, we would reassign that person, and through attrition, we would ensure that we're not required to terminate anyone.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief Schrader? Councilman Henry?
And Chief, just for clarity for the public, this is just renewal for the officer that you have at the high school, correct?
Well, we intend, and we've wanted to for a long time, add a second officer.
Okay, so two.
And through this opportunity, this is one way to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Powell?
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item 16, presentations from the gallery on other topics. Individuals limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone here to speak on any other topics tonight? Seeing none, we'll go on to item 17, any council and staff discussion of presentation topics. Item 18, any new business. 19, any unfinished business. 20, approval of closed session minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Branch.
Aye.
Costello.
Abstain.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey. Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 21, at this time, we will go into closed session pursuant to Section 610.021 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri. The chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the following: discussion of operational guidelines, policies, and response plans for use in responding to or preventing any critical incident which is or appears to be terrorist in nature. Disclosure would impair the city's ability to project the security or safety of people and property. Public interest in non-disclosure outweighs the public interest in having this portion of the meeting in open, section 610.021.18. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Branch.
Aye.
Costales.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll be back here in 5 minutes.
I know.